So welcome to Engaging Students Using Live Chats. My name is Rachel Roske, and I teach online at El Camino College Compton Center, as does my colleague Judy, who teaches online at UCC Compton Center as well as University of Montana, Helena. Am I okay with the volume? Yes, the volume. Can you guys hear me? Not too loud? Okay. So today we're going to introduce you to live chats, which is a teaching tool for your online classroom where students can hold small group discussions in real time. So basically using your chat room tool in your course management platform, or otherwise if you don't have one, we have some ideas for that. So today we're going to go over kind of the basics of how we developed this platform to use in the online classroom, and then instead of just telling you about it, we're going to have you try it out free sample style. So I just have a few testimonials from previous students from my classes of why they really like this way of interacting, which is a little different from your discussion forum. So in your discussion forum, you post, every course management system I think has one, you post, you wait for other people to write, you check back all the time. The chat room, everyone is in there at the same time, and it's real time. So the reason I developed this is thinking about online teaching. What I saw as, like a lot of things in life, the greatest strength of online teaching and online learning can also be its greatest weakness. So students and teachers alike love that asynchronicity, the fact that you don't have to be there at the same time. But it can also create this kind of isolating environment. I feel like we've kind of touched on this a lot today throughout the presentations. So lacking that real-time engagement socially, where students are talking to each other in an immediate way and making friends, maybe. I was thinking we use this term regular effective contact, usually to mean like instructor to student, but I think it can also apply student to student. So this is a great thing for that because it's student-led. So that's why I developed the live chat pedagogy to kind of create that regular effective contact between students. So students form small groups. They schedule their time where they have real-time meetings, and they can discuss the course material through this platform that resembles instant messaging technology, IMing on Gmail or whatnot, that they're already familiar with as this fun thing to do. So they usually really like it, as these testimonials show. Judy started using live chats in a slightly different way.
Yes, Rachel presented over at El Camino. We have technology conferences once a year or so, and she presented the live chats, and I was like, that's great. I'm teaching English online. She teaches art, and so I took it and I emailed her and I said, send me what you have, which is what we're going to share with you, which is she sent me her instructions that she gave her students, and I tweaked it for what I needed it, made my own rubric, and was on my way in a matter of days, and threw it in actually that same semester in the end as an extra credit assignment, just to check it out. This last spring I taught 2 classes online, a literature class and a freshman English, and they had 5 live chats during the course of the semester, which that was the most I've done, and I probably will bring that back to 4 and make the first one, just fun, get to know you, and not have them all be heavily graded, because it's fine, but it felt like it was too much. So 4 was good. It'll cover all my essays and everything. It gives them a different way to do it. And then we got together after I had mentioned at the beginning of this year, I said we should present this. This is really good. And we started talking about how I've been using it and then how she was using it. And I changed something. I can't remember, maybe the graded forum, how I grade it. And then we together collaborated, tweaked it a little bit, and that's what we're presenting today. So you're kind of getting the best of both of our couple of years of using this and collaborating on it.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, you're going to come away with these materials that you can use in your own classroom. So first of all, how many people have a chat room tool in their course management system? I'm just curious. I think most of them do have a chat room tool. Okay. Anyone using the chat room tool for, okay, one person. Is that us?
Yes, somebody raised online, raised their hand.
Oh, so we have a question. I can answer a question. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. I did.
Yeah, we're on speaker.
I did ask for a show of hands. Okay, so 2 people. So that's the other reason I developed it, is that you have this chat room tool that you never use. So even if you don't have a chat room on your course management system, I can skip ahead. Well, actually, I'll go to that later. I have another alternative for you guys to write down. But so basically, for this presentation, we set up 2 mock online classrooms to show you how this works. And thanks to Etudes is why you have Etudes information on the screen here. Did anyone go to Vizzy CNews presentation last? One person. She was talking about Etudes course management platform. So, oh, Vizzy's here. Hello. We have Vizzy's here herself. So thanks to Vizzy and Etudes, we have 2 mock course management platforms to show you how the chat room tool works. So we created 2 classrooms, one for English, Judy teaches English, and one for art. I teach art appreciation. So you can kind of see how it works with different subjects, but you could really use this for anything, for math or science, anything that requires an interaction in real time. Okay, so I'm just going to, before we have you guys log on and try it out, I thought we'd just walk you through how it looks and works in our classrooms. So I'm going to go through my, oh, that's the wrong one. I'm going to quit. Oh, actually, no, that's fine. I'm going to go through how I use it in my classroom, and then Judy's going to show you hers. So the first thing you need to do, because it's in real time, students need to be in the chat room at the same time. So this requires a little bit of scheduling on their part. We leave it up to them to figure out who you're going to meet up. It's like, just like in a face-to-face brick-and-mortar classroom. Okay, form small groups, you know, not that simple. But we both use Google Docs, so you have a document that everyone can access, like this sample that we created, where students can figure out who they want to group up with and a time that works for everyone. So usually I allow like 3 weeks for them to complete the chat. So in 3 weeks, if you have 5 people, there's going to be some time that works for all of you. I mean, I've never had a student not able to do that. Have you, Judy?
No, and I only use 2 weeks. They have 2 weeks to get it together. Because it's a pre-writing for me, so they only get 2 weeks to form a group and then hold their session.
Okay.
You get some noise from some students that, oh, this is going to be so hard to do. Does that happen?
Occasionally, but not a lot. Sometimes it's like, well, I'm worried about my schedule, et cetera, but I tell them it's your schedule. You figure it around it. The larger the class, the easier it is, so that there's plenty of choices. The smaller classes you're trapped in with, a set number of students and et cetera. So, right.
Yeah, I really haven't had that. It's only students that kind of blew it off till the very last minute. Yeah. Then they might come and say, well, I couldn't do it. And it's like, well, you didn't even try. Like, I can tell that you didn't put your name, or, you didn't reach out to anyone, or, and there's other ways you can do it. So sometimes I'll have students say divide into groups, and if you don't have a group, then I'm going to assign everyone that doesn't have a group by May 15th. I'm going to put you in your own group, and then, yeah. Did you have a question?
So if they fix the time that they're going to meet, does the teacher need to be available all the time?
No, it's not. It's student-led, student moderator. We're not there. We come in and grade at the end.
And they choose those times or have a reservation?
They pick the times. I don't even put the times out there.
They can do it either way. There's in the discussion board, there's a student lounge where I tell them they can discuss it that way, or they can private message each other through the Etude system. So, and I think most platforms like Blackboard, I teach in Moodle also, they can message each other through that. So I
know you had a group schedule their discussion at like midnight, 3 a.m.
I had one group that got started at midnight and they went until 3. Whatever, it's only supposed to be an hour long, but they were enjoying themselves. There was like 4 of them in the group. We also limit the groups to 3 to 5 participants, and
right.
Yeah, so that if they're too big, they get out of hand. They stay too long, and
And that's the beauty of it. It's student-led, so they're in charge. I think they enjoy that, and then you don't have to be there. You come in afterwards. I'll show you. I'll get to this, how it looks. Eventually, you'll see how that works out. But so after they have their groups selected, you could do this a number of different ways, but I like to have, you know, pre-written questions that they're going to take to the chat room to discuss. So, and then to avoid redundancy, so they're not just reading the previous chat room's discussion, I have them unique. There's probably different ways to do this. I know you do slightly differently. So I have a bank of questions. Once they have their time and date, then they sign up for which question they want to discuss. For my class in an art appreciation, you can see some examples of, they're basically talking about a work of art in their textbook. And you'll have a similar situation when we practice today with the mock session.
All text, or can it be voice?
It can be voice. In etudes, I don't think we have voice, but there's different ways you can use. Like I know instructors using like Google Hangout Zones, or I'm going to show you another one. SimpleMeet.com is another one where you can use voice or video. I like OTC14, right? Of course. I like text because it's like seems simpler to grade in a way. I don't know how you would grade the audio. You'd have to have it playing and then pause and make notes. I don't know. For me, I like the text because it's just easy to
grading
look at and grade.
If you have 3 people in the class, you're only grading once, and you've graded 3 people. So you find those 3 people, and I also have them do a follow-up question. And so I grade by those groups, and so I get those 3 students. I read that chat session that they had, and then I go grade each one of their individual paragraphs that they write after the chat session to see, you know, how their thoughts changed, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, and we're going to show you that.
Yeah. Moderator instructions. So I have a few brief instructions on, you know, out of your group, you're going to choose a moderator, and they're going to moderate the chat. And you could do this as simple and loosely structured, or it could be highly structured. For me, I have, you know, the students have a combination of a prepared response and a extemporaneous discussion, really back and forth discussion. So I think that's good for students that maybe aren't comfortable with like being on the spot about a work of art, you know, just talking, freestyling. So they have an element that's 200 words that's pre-written, prepared ahead of time that they post. And then there's some time for students to read over each other's posts in the spirit of the silent Socratic method, where they're reading and reflecting on each other's prepared responses. And then they have the back and forth dialogue about each post. And everyone's required to, you know, post 1 comment and 1 question, for example. So you could, there's a lot of different ways you could do that, but some sort of moderator instructions is helpful. And this is how it looks. This is just a sample of a bunch of our mock users of what the chat room actually looks like. Etudes has updated this tool, so it's a little bit different now if you're using Etudes. But this is an example of how you see who said what when. You know, that's the beauty of it, is you can go back and these are archived. And students can look at other conversations. So they can see, I don't know how this chat room is going to work. They can go read the previous chat room and see how it went down. So this is just an example for, you know, in terms of the format. And you see the time. So you see if someone like, you know, only posted twice in the hour. So it's really holding the students pretty accountable. Let's see. Okay. Actually, I'm going to switch over. I'm going to let Judy, if you want to like go over your site.
Okay. So that's my, this is my home page, my landing page. And then if you could take us to the reservations, this is a live reservations doc, it's the same thing. And if you don't know how Google Docs work, actually I learned Google Docs from Donna Eisen sitting over there at one of those technology conferences, and I was like, ooh, and I put everybody on Google Docs. Like I had them do a group essay. So one person did 1 paragraph and one person did another paragraph. It was crazy. I did that a couple of times and then I let that one go. But then I have my chat rubric in here. So do you want to hit on that? So they get the rubric. This I might actually post in more in a module. I didn't give you guys the modules because the modules are really big, and so you didn't have to read all that. But that's my my discussion rubric, and so it has the actual graph in there. And then my question bank is live. So they so there's the chat instructions. This is what we're going to share with you today. And then if you scroll back up to the top. For me, what one of the things I changed was if you go to assignments, tests, and surveys, how to grade it. How I have my students grade it is they, I think you have to go to test drive, yeah. They click in, they begin, and then they copy and paste. I have them copy and paste the whole text of their chat. And then I also have them type 2 follow-up questions. It's usually about 2 paragraphs. One is always concluding what they've just discussed, if they've changed any ideas, or if they learned anything from what other people said, or did they get any new insights from their classmates, or did they learn that not everybody thinks the same way that they do. So just having something like that, and then I usually have a second question that usually has to do with a forthcoming project that they're working on, if they've planned it, and et cetera. It depends on how deep the material is. And so they copy and paste that there, and they click finish, and then I get to grade it, like I said, in chunks of, they have 3 to 5 students in the chat, so I can grade it as a chunk, so I find all those students. And if they've done it early, I can go in and grade it right after they've done it, so I'm not grading 30 people on one day, because they're not doing it all in the same day. So, which is nice, because then I can grade, maybe in 10 minutes and be done, and then 10 minutes. So if you want to go to grading, I can show them that real quick.
Okay.
So we get, so I can get this guest user who, I think there's something in one of them that we pasted before. Yeah. So the text would be up front, whatever I ask them to write, and then I can grade that, and then I get to see and that's how it appears. It comes up with color for different students, and it makes it easy to figure out who did what. And I just read through it, and it's being just I'm eavesdropping on their conversation, and so I can tell them, okay, I want you to get further into this, and I give them comments and feedback and give them a score, and I'm done, and I go to the next user in that group. So it makes it fast. So I'm not having to reread stuff. It's actually making it grading really easy.
Yeah. Any questions so far? Yes.
So I find instructions like copy and paste something from one area to another area beyond the technical ability of many of my students.
They've never had a problem with it.
Yeah,
I have a lot of instruction, and I do a lot of screenshots in my modules. A lot. She's like, wow, that's a lot. And I'm like, yeah. I step by step everything, because I've seen that and I like it. It's I've gone to a lot of YouTube video, make the YouTube. Now my next step is to go make walkthroughs with Screencast-O-Matic. So, it's finding the time to do stuff like that. Although I do try to get as much public sources as possible for, especially like Microsoft Word, how to do MLA. I don't like to reinvent the wheel. But for walking through this stuff, I do a lot of screenshots. And then I just, because you can import, with eTubes, you just import your next site into your next class, and you're done. You tweak it, and you're done. So.
Yeah, I've never had any issues with that.
Yeah, never
at all.
Does anyone in here know Blackboard concept?
Chat? I thought they did.
I think they do, but you have to request it, is what I'm remembering, is it's not like automatically there. You have to ask them to have that chat room.
So your call is just to buy it?
I'm not sure if they charge for it or not. I'm not sure about that.
They wouldn't necessarily all come with a grading piece.
No, that's why we copy and paste it. I opened an assignment. So that's because I don't know how you were grading it before, but I was grading it always by copying, because if it doesn't go into assignment, it doesn't go into the grade book. And so and that's why I wanted them to do that last follow-up paragraph, so that kind of concluded the assignment, and I wanted them to step away from it for a day, and I asked them to do that. Go away for a day, think about this stuff, come back and write your paragraph and submit it, you know, before the assignment closes. So they usually do that, except, you know, the students who don't do anything early, the ones who wait till the very last minute. But yeah, so that was how I was grading it. You put it into the grading feature, open an assignment that just says copy and paste, and then you're done.
Yeah, and usually you can take something from one, you know, I'll do CCC confer lectures and have the students watch that for credit and then give them credit in A2. So I sometimes toggle between one thing to another. So these are just some examples of, I changed the names to student number, whatever, of actual conversations from my class about works of art. So that I think are, you know, you get a sense of how their minds are working, you know, and it's kind of this generative conversation because it is spontaneous and extemporaneous. It's not all written ahead of time. So they're really kind of working together to unpack what's going on in this abstract collage in this case.
And then do you have questions about
She's art, I'm English, I do.
Yeah.
They're not, yeah, they get no credit if they do texting. They can't even email me in text, I can't stand it.
For the chat rooms I allow some LOL or some smiley face.
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know.
But no, like U and letter U instead of YOU.
Yeah.
So why don't we, for those of you who have laptops and want to try this out, why don't we get you logged in? And for those of you who don't have a laptop and don't want to log in, that's okay. We're going to project what's happening up here so you can see what's happening in the two chat rooms. We have one set up for English and one for art. So Judy's going to come around and pass out some login information, and you'll either be logging into an art site or an English site. And I think you also have the instructions for logging into, and I'll walk you through it up here too as well.
Okay.
Yeah, why not? We had talked about that in the other notes, but I think it's fine.
You want to try? All right.
So this is just going to give you a flavor of what the students are experiencing.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the how-to.
So you're getting the login card, and you should have a screen like this. If you go to https://myetudes.org/portal. So this will be on the how-to sheet as well. And you're going to go to the gateways to Etudes.
Try on your phone.
So we have a how-to sheet coming around too.
Did we get the how-to login?
Yes. Anyone need a how-to login?
You know. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to enter at the top right of your screen. For those of you that are there now, you're going to enter your user ID and your password at the top. Are there any extras, Judy?
I'm not a card figure.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I think I can. So when you log in, you're going to see some tabs at the top of your screen, and
one tab.
Or one tab. Yeah, you're right. One tab. And so you guys will be grouped up with other people in this room. Much like in an online classroom, you're not looking at that person in front of you. So you might not know where this other user is logged in. But you're going to have a conversation with them briefly about either an art-related subject or an English-related subject. But we're not going to grade it, so don't worry. I don't want any extra grading. Okay, let's see. pass out the other stuff, Judy?
No, I haven't. So
Maybe the art thing? What do you think?
yes. Yes, English and for art and for
There's two different sites, and you won't know until you get logged in, and then you'll see which site it is. So, Vivi, just put it. Okay. And then that's it?
Yeah.
Student add. Okay. Are we adding her? And so once you get into the site,
you're going to see what they're seeing.
you should see announcement on the right that tells you what to do. So on the right-hand side of the login screen, you'll see an announcement that says what to do. So in this case, in the art site, so you have the painting, you see welcome to engaging your students using live chats. And then you can read on the right side what your instructions are. And same with yours, Judy, right? It's on the announcement to the right-hand side? Okay. So it should be pretty self-explanatory, and this is what our students are experiencing with this tool. So if there's any questions, we can, unlike an online classroom, I guess you can raise your hand. We can walk around a little bit.
You can go right into the chat room.
So we'll have about maybe 10 minutes. We'll see how it goes to chat. Oh, and there's a chat from an earlier conference. So like in the chat room in a real classroom, you will see the previous chats already there. And you can tell from the date. So April 25th in this case. Right? Yep.
It's in the question bank. What? Myself on the yeah. It's right there. Is anyone totally lost?
I just can't for some reason figure it out like that. Yeah, I don't have
Oh, good work.
Oh,
that's the question bank. So you go back, you go back here, and you go into chat. Chat button. Because that has the picture. Like not to bring in a picture. Oh, cool. We have all these people.
So I think just use a 9 and somebody that's online.
Yes. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. And sometimes you may have to hit refresh on your browser to see what other people have posted every once in a while.
She got them both. Yeah, she has it. Do you need to see it, the picture further in there?
Okay.
Did you get in yet?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you in English or you're in English?
I'm in English.
So here's the poem, so you don't have to go back and forth. Because usually you can open it in the second window.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Wait, you have to hit send out message. There you go. Now you're here. Now you can see it.
Yes.
And if you need to keep looking. I told you to open it in a second window. so that they can toggle back and forth, or usually first they have to prepare ahead of time, and then it's just conversation. So it depends on
I don't know if it's like while you're typing.
I see the PDF.
Really? Oh, because that, yeah.
Or yeah. They often have an open discussion board. They have to post a question in the discussion board, and then you answer each other's questions. So I involved this.
This is on the online class.
A bunch of different ways.
Oh, that's their screen, that's right. And so they probably have two windows open. One is logged into ATS.
Like what? Yeah, yeah. Oh, right, in my first week, because it's English. They can't email me that way, they can't put it on the discussion board or anything. It's probably out there. You can find how to Google it. Yeah.
So I'm going to toggle, for those of you that aren't online, I'm going to go to the English site so you can see that too. So right now we're on the art site. Wow. Awesome. There's a lot of people in there.
You have to set it up by giving each group their IDs and...
We just did that for the conference, yeah. So normally the students are already in the online classroom. All they have to do is click on chat and they're there. Yeah, yeah. So really the hardest, most, kind of clunky aspect of the assignment is just scheduling, and just, the instructions for the students. But once they do it once, I usually have about 3 to 5 chat assignments per semester. And once they do it once, they got it,
Yes.
But that's kind of
It's in the question bank. But
the biggest hurdle, but it's not really a hurdle. Yeah.
So a couple of people had asked about how they, get the questions. Their questions are in the question bank, and I instruct them they can open a second window. Rachel had mentioned she has people create a pre-written answer, so then they wouldn't need to toggle back and forth. But I also have them put questions in the discussion board that they write themselves about the material, and then they have to answer each other's questions. So they have to be able to get into all these different places simultaneously. So a lot of this stuff is insisting that they work on a computer rather than a tablet, so they can open multiple windows. But since I'm teaching English, they need to have Microsoft Word, and I don't know how many tablets do that yet. So I'm always kind of pushing that, because a lot of them are using other things that I can't open. So. Yeah, my grading rubric, it's in there. Are you in there?
Here. Let me get it on here, and I can show you.
There's a copy of it in the back, along with some copies of the presentation. And I think they're going to link this. This is my grading rubric. So it's two. One is it begins on the discussion board. Everything ties from the discussion board. And the second one is just for the chat. Can you scroll the inner bar? I think you have to scroll over a little. There. Keep going. So I have 2 rubrics. This is the discussion board rubric. So they get 5, 2, or 0 points. 5 points for, and they have different replies. So they get response replies are 5 points for 2 people, and their initial post is 10 points. And they have to be pretty substantial. They can't text type. They have to write in full paragraphs and be, because it's an English class, I count this as an essay to all the discussion boards collectively. And I tell them that. It counts as an essay. And then if you scroll down, there's a chat room rubric. So they get 50 points for the chat room. So that too, by the end of the semester, last one was, 250 points? 50 times 5. It's late in the day. It's my math time. And it's, so it's pretty substantial. They have to, especially the 2 paragraphs and the chat collectively is all 50 points. So they, if they're posting a decent response and synthesizing the material. If you can tell they're faking that they didn't even read the stuff when they're saying, you know, I had them read the last lecture and they kept saying, well, he died. Like, he didn't die during the book. So you can tell.
And I can show mine too. I have a similar, it's like a little bit simpler, but I can show mine.
Yeah, we're going to give them to the conference that they documents.
Yeah, so we have a, I'm not sure if they're going to use Dropbox or a website or how we're going to get those to you, but after the conference there'll be a follow-up with information, materials from, I believe, any presentation that offers them where, you know, you can have these, get these materials. So we're going to give you all of these materials,
and more.
Of Judy's and mine. And
your instructions that she shared with me a couple of years ago, and then how I changed them. My instructions, I think, are also in that folder.
And you can also, we'll give you our email addresses as well, which are also on those handouts. You can also just email us individually and request those materials, and we can blast those out to you. And just, you know, alter it, because that was part of the work of developing this, was just writing the instructions and so forth, but you can just tweak it to your classroom.
Yeah, and you can, if you look at her instructions and mine, you'll notice I totally stole hers and just changed it. So, because she came to me. So. They'll look a lot alike.
I'm just going to find mine, my grading. Okay, so this is my sample grading criteria, which it's not exactly a rubric, but I just have a list of, what I'm looking for that the students, and this is just how I grade, what I'm looking for in each chat.
Most of the students in the group do come prepared, or they're usually kind of one person.
This year they told me, they like tattled on each other. They were like, so-and-so wasn't prepared, and I said, it's student-led, you can ask them not to stay. If they show that they're not prepared by the first, you know, first couple of questions, you can say, listen, we're all ready to go, and it's up to you, you know, it's your session. So, yeah, moderate it. So, boot them out. Yeah, but they're prepared. Yeah. Yeah, they usually do. And sometimes, you know, they'll email me and say, listen, you know, something happened or whatever, and I'll get that not once a chat, but at least once a semester where somebody, you know, had some sort of emergency and either missed the chat. Because I tell them if they continually, I had one student one semester who just ditched her chat room all the time and kept trying to jump into somebody else's. And they have to have at least 3 students to be able to chat. And if they have only 2, they have to scramble and find a third, and it wasn't fair. And I said, so I changed my rules where if they do that consistently a couple of times to people, that they are not allowed to chat anymore. They lose all the points for the semester because it's something that's respectful to the other students or not being respectful to the other students. So, you know, it's kind of a gift to be able to do something like this.
For some reason, my English one is frozen. I don't know why. Can't seem to do anything. Oh, okay, that works.
So Judy, do you break them into small groups, or how small are they?
3 to 5. I have a rule they have no less than 3 and no more than 5. Yes, on that on the sign-up sheet. Yeah.
And the minutes you schedule then they're on.
Yes, it's all on their own. Yeah. Yeah.
And you pick your topics based on
Whatever we're reading, it's yeah. It's like I said, for me it's a pre-writing activity. I work in 3-week increments of an essay based on a written work, and a novel, a play, whatever. And so the first week they actively read the book, and they have to scan their active reading of the material and email it to me, at least 3 pages of it, and then they have to do this broken down outline. By the second week they do the chat, the third week they give me the essay. so that I don't want essays coming right off the cuff. They've done it, I call it a skeleton outline, where they tell me, this is my topic sentence, this is my claim, this is the quote I'm going to use. So basically they're doing everything except the fluff of the essay.
And do each one of those skeletons carry the same number of points?
No, how much is my skeleton? It's 50 to 100 points a skeleton, depending on the work, and then the chat's always 50 points, and the essays are either 100 or 200 points, depending on if it's research-based, etc. Yeah.
Not the sample
Yeah.
like 56 dollars. And like great, every goal is to chat. So this is English.
Yeah, he's doing it on his phone. Oh, you can chat in the app now? Okay. Okay. Oh, it has? Okay. I just got an iPad and you know, like I said, I use 10% of my brain and maybe 1% of my iPad. I have no idea. But, yeah.
And I did find...
Great. Oh, cool.
I found this as well. I shouldn't be promoting anything but Etudes. But if you don't have Etudes and you're using Blackboard and you don't have the chat room, we discovered this at the last conference. We presented at the simplemeet.me. So that's just a free online site where you can use chat and I believe audio and video as well. So you could use that and then have the students import that into your course management platform to grade. So this is a really great resource.
Did you choose Simple Meet instead of like a Google Hangout or a Facebook chat? Is it simpler or what?
Well, it's really just about the chat. So I feel like Google Hangout zones, I'm not as familiar with those, but it seems to be more of a resembling Facebook, and there's all this other stuff, whereas simplemeet.me is just chat. So, yeah, it's just less distracting, yeah.
I used Facebook once for my film literature class because I wanted them to post videos, posters, and then a comment. And it worked out well, and again, I had them copy and paste it into the assignment area so that I could see and grade it. It was all about grading and get it out of Facebook and be able to grade it in Etudes and keep it in the gradebook. And it worked out well, and I used it simply because Facebook resizes photos and the videos were pretty easy to get in there. And they liked it. I had them doing it just working on summaries because it's a film literature class. So. You know, like we were going through the genres of film. So it was westerns and what's your favorite western, and musicals, what's your favorite musical, and what's your favorite thriller, etc. So, and they'd have to post the poster, the video of the trailer, and give us a summary that they were not allowed to get from like Wikipedia. Write their own summary.
Does anyone else have other suggestions for other resources out there that I might not be aware of for whether it's the live chat or video or any other interactive websites that might be useful? Okay, yes. Google Groups or Google Hangout zones, right. That's another. So have you used that one?
No, I haven't, but I used previously.
Okay. Okay. Great.
And where there's alternative because it is a limited number if you want to have your group. So if you only want to have 3 or 5 people, they copy each other as well. I think we can have just for chat.
Okay. Okay, maybe we'll give you a couple more minutes to finish up. I'm trying to look in on both of the chats, and I'm doing right now kind of popping in what a moderator would be doing here. I don't know if you had a moderator for your session or not.
Yeah, the student moderates the session. I do on the first chat. I try to get in a couple of them just to eyeball what's going on and kind of steer them in the right direction if they're going off course or whatever. It's usually just the first chat I pay attention to. Same with the discussion board. I'm really heavy in the discussion board in the first half of the semester, and then I try to pull myself out of it so they're doing more peer review. And I'm just course correcting at the end of the semester.
Have you ever run into an issue where students schedule themselves at the same time?
Yes, once. They overlapped because somebody came late and ran over, and the other group was like tapping at the door, and they were all in there. And then there was one where they had too many people. They had 6, and I said, "You have 2 groups of 3." So, you know, yeah.
Now, you want to create private research.
Yes, exactly. Now that I know you just put this up, she just changed this like a week ago, and I was like, oh, yay, okay. So, and I thought maybe I don't need the reservations, and maybe I don't know, but. Yeah.
So do you find that the students tend to self-select and stay in the group, or do they take new people as
They sometimes end up with a couple of the same people, but it just depends on their schedule. So, yeah, I know that a couple of people like working with other people, and then they shy away from the ones that they know are not doing the work. So, because they're all wanting their grade. So, yeah.
And you say you grade them all at once, but I
grade them in groups.
In groups, but that's the other thing with grading. I think with in a brick and mortar classroom, when you have group work, students are concerned that maybe one person is doing all the work and they're not going to get credit, or one person is not doing any work. Whereas with the chat, it's really clear who's talking. So I grade them individually. Well, I know you kind of do, but
yeah. I
grade them individually. So it's a great group activity where they're still just getting individual credit for what they actually brought to the table.
Yeah, I mean, one person gets 50 points and the other person can get 30 points. It depends on what they've said in the chat. I just only have to read it once. That's what I mean by reading it once.
That's true.
Yeah. Because, 30 people and 30 essays every week.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And then I like how you frame it in terms of, this is essentially writing an essay because you're writing 200-word blocks of text, and when you put it like that, it's like, yeah, I'd rather do the chat room than write an essay. So the students see it as this kind of fun alternative to the typical essay that they have to write.
Not quite as long, and they don't.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see.
What time is it? Do we have time to be one of the first? How many people?
Oh yeah, first 200 people. We were saying if we run out of, if we have extra time, we can be the first group for the reception. Because they were saying the first 200, the free drink ticket.
I'm always looking out for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.